All right, welcome listeners to episode 4 of A Muggle's Perspective. I'm Rogge.
And I am Braden.
We are here to guide Braden through the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Braden is a newbie. He's never read any of these books before. And so we are coming up on halfway through Sorcerer's Stone. Braden, are you excited?
I am. I'm very excited.
These are a couple big chapters. Did you have plenty of time to read these over the last couple weeks? You've been busy?
Yeah, no, I got into it and was able to reread it a little bit over my lunch break today, actually. So I have officially started taking a Harry Potter book to work. I'm at that level now, so that's where my life is. So... yeah, no, it's good. These were important chapters. So
yeah, well, don't worry. There's more levels. I have a home copy and a work copy. So,
wow.
Yeah. Well, in fairness to me, our school at the beginning of this year gave a full set of the Harry Potter paperbacks to every classroom to kind of build up a classroom library. We're doing reading at the beginning of every day now. So I didn't just go buy myself more copies, but I do use it from time to time to check up on things if I'm doing podcast stuff at school.
So your school funded the purchase of multiple sets, a set of Harry Potter books for every classroom.
Yeah, so that's like 40 sets, approximately 35, something like that. But there's a few other series that are in there too. The Aragon books, the Inheritance Cycle, I guess is what they're called. There's like some princess books. I've never looked at them. Oh, the Diary of the Wimpy Kids. Have you ever heard of those?
Yeah, my youngest sister's a big fan of those.
Yeah. So, Chapter 7, The Sorting Hat. This begins, if I have my rundown up here, this begins with Harry and the gang just standing right outside Hogwarts, and Harry's stomach is all aflutter. Were you joining him there, Braden?
I was. I was very interested in what's inside this place. We left them last chapter on boats, just this like flock of boats going across the water towards Hogwarts. So we get to kind of learn what Harry's life's going to be like for the foreseeable future, I guess.
Yeah, so there's what his life is like, and then almost as importantly, where his life takes place. We've finally gotten into Hogwarts. What are your impressions of Hogwarts so far?
It's like, to me, in my mind, it's like this old castle on a hill that's like really... the rooms have like really, really tall ceilings and the lights kind of dim and everyone's in like black cloaks. I don't know. To me, reading it, it was kind of like a creepy vibe.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, obviously we'll get a lot of Hogwarts and lots of really good description. That's one thing J.K. Rowling is awesome at, is detail and really putting you in that place. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that holds up over the next few books. And I mean, the next few chapters, you'll definitely hear a lot more. So I'm excited to see if you fall in love with the castle. I mean, that is just one of the biggest parts of the fandom, is everyone wants to go to Hogwarts. I love Hogwarts. I want to be there.
Yeah, I haven't seen as we've mentioned in previous episodes, I haven't seen the movie, so I have really nothing to go off of other than it's just a huge castle. So
yeah, I like it that way. We've got your mind's eye, and then we'll have to do an episode where we go through the movie and we can kind of pause it and say, okay, what does this look like compared to what you were expecting and all that kind of thing. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah, so this is called The Sorting Hat. Obviously, we're going to get to the sorting, but first, I think there's something kind of beefy that comes up before we get to the sorting.
Yeah, I'm looking at, I think it starts on page 115.
Yep, sure does.
Just out of nowhere, there's all these ghosts that I think are described as, it says about 20 ghosts had just streamed through the back wall. Pearly white and transparent, they glided across the room, talking to one another and hardly glancing at the first years. And they're arguing, and there's like these different characters. There's a fat friar, and we learn later that there's like a bloody baron that's connected with Slytherin. But there's no like explanation. It's just like the kids walked in and ghosts came out of the walls, and so now let's get to the sorting hat. And that's my beef this week. I'm beefing on that. It's like, hold on. I know a lot of weird things have happened so far, and this is obviously not a normal world that Harry's walking into, but you're not going to give me anything more than that, like what these ghosts' purposes are, or I don't know. I thought it was funny that it's just you just sort of move on. It's like, yeah, there are ghosts in here, and that's okay. So let's keep going on to how they get into their houses. So
It is a casual introduction. They literally glide in and glide out right out of the story.
yeah, and then they're part of the chapters moving forward. They interact with the ghosts a little bit, and they're having to like watch out for them. Again, there's like really no explanation as to. I assume it'll become more clear moving through the book, but at the time I was like, hold on, I need to know like why these are here. Or...
Yeah, it sort of just puts it in perspective of all of the craziness that Harry's going through, that yes, he gasps at the ghost and then he kind of just has to move on once they leave.
Yeah, I feel like it's like sensory overload here for young Harry.
Definitely, we have to keep in mind he's 11 years old.
I do forget that a lot. Because so in my mind, like when I see the pictures on TV or whatever of like for the Harry Potter movies, the characters are all kind of older typically.
Yeah.
And so it'll come to me at different times reading this book like, oh wait, they're 11. So like they're little kids. Well, I mean, they're not like babies, but they're little kids. So I don't know. I have to consciously keep that in mind.
Yeah, it comes up really early on too, and I mean on page 114, just right in this same section, we're talking about houses. Kid, you get sorted into these houses, and that sort of defines who you are as a person for the next 6 years at 11 years old.
Yeah, that's a big decision. That's, I guess, not really made for them, or is made for them, but I think we're supposed to kind of associate, I don't know, a personality with these houses. Like, obviously, Slytherin is going to have, like, the Draco, and it's got some ties to Voldemort somehow, and so that's sort of the bad team or the away team, and Gryffindor obviously is sort of painted as, like, the home team. That's where Harry's going to go, and we're all going to be cheering for Gryffindor.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be cheering for Gryffindor. So what do you think about this setup? You got your 4 houses, you earn and lose points called house points, and there's a house cup at the end of the year.
So is the House Cup an actual competition of sorts, or do they just tally the points?
No, it's a competition. There's actually these hourglasses that sit in the Great Hall, and they have numbers at the bottom, and you can see a visual representation of how many points each house has. So you can tell, oh, Slytherin's way in the lead, or Gryffindor's falling behind, and all the students know exactly how many points each house has. And the end of the year, the feast is all decorated based on which house wins.
And the points are awarded and or taken away just on behavioral type things, or I assume Quidditch comes into play here?
Yeah, Quidditch comes into play. That's never made extremely explicit, but the Quidditch Cup does factor into the House Cup, and behavior is definitely part of it. And you get your fair amount of losing and gaining points from scholastic achievement as well. You'll get a lot of someone answering a question right, and that's a few points for Gryffindor, or if someone can't, has 5 tries and misses the question every time, they might lose points for their house, things like that.
Okay. Well, that'll be interesting moving forward then.
I wanted to ask, what's the feasibility of that? Could you see that working in a real school? Would you like to go to a school with even the house system where you are sort of sorted in? It reminds me a little bit of college, of kind of the fraternity life. You've got your family for the next few years.
Yeah, so I don't understand, I guess, what's the prize to be had? Just bragging rights for winning the House Cup?
Yeah, it's definitely pride. It's house pride. It is. There are adults that you are either letting down or really making proud. I don't know. Does it make it incredibly clear? There's a head of the house. One of the teachers is the head of each of the 4 houses.
Yeah.
So Professor McGonagall, for instance, doesn't favor the Gryffindors by any means, but definitely puts some sort of subtle, almost passive-aggressive pressure, expecting them to succeed, encouraging them to do well. She wants to see Gryffindor do well. And you have to keep in mind, virtually every witch and wizard in England went through Hogwarts. So as the books go on, we'll see alumni from these houses, and they look back, oh, did you guys win the House Cup? And, it's still just such a source of pride because these are the people that you live with for 7 years. These are the standards and ideals that you're upholding by being the next generation of Gryffindors or Hufflepuffs.
Okay, so yeah, a big deal, I guess, then in the world of wizards and witches. So
yeah, that was interesting when you brought that up. Is there some sort of prize? Because I'd never even considered it. I mean, from the time I was a little kid, I read this and I was like, oh, heck yeah, Gryffindor going to win this House Cup. Like, just wanting it for Harry and being excited about it, because anyone that knows me knows that one of my biggest things is that I'm just competitive. Like, if there's any kind of game or activity in front of me, it does not matter if I'm gaining anything from the victory. I'm going to go all out and I'm going to win this.
Yeah, so I guess it can be used then as a learning tool for the first years here, and then sort of as a byproduct, maybe a behavioral thing. So I'm sure there's a method to the madness then.
Yeah, and it's just cool that the professors and teachers and things are able to just speak it into existence. So 10 points to Gryffindor, and they don't have to do a spell or anything, but the rubies fall into Gryffindor's hourglass. They get those points just from the magic of their office. Like, they are imbued with an innate sense of power in that they can control this without even having to try.
Yeah, so I think that's where this would go wrong in real life, because as we'll talk about, Snape obviously just hates Harry, and so he's just going to take points away from him. So as much as we would like to believe in real life that teachers would not favor a student and or dislike a student, that happens, and so that I feel like there would have to be some sort of rules or some sort of written code of like how points are scored or taken away.
So we are to the sorting. Harry has gotten a talking to from Professor McGonagall. She explains there are houses and the House Cup and so forth. So now they are to the sorting ceremony. And how is it that they get sorted, Braden?
There is an old dirty hat, and they take this hat and they place it on your head, and it decides, apparently it is magically alive, and it decides and audibly yells what house you are in.
Yeah, it just yells out the name of one of these houses. So you are kept in suspense. It's not going to tell you beforehand. You just find out with everyone else. So I think that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, and like for some kids, it goes really quickly. Like they immediately know what house they're in, and then some kids have to sit there in agony for like minutes while the entire school stares at them. Yet another just totally random and strange, unexplained thing in this chapter. It's just that their house, the house they'll be spending. Did you say it's the next 7 years?
Well, yeah, you're at Hogwarts for 7 years.
Yeah, so the next 7 years, where the people they'll be living with, the house they'll be living in, is decided by a talking fashion accessory.
Yeah, something that it says on Pottermore but is never revealed in the books. Pottermore is sort of an extra collection of some of J.K. Rowling's writings and just clarifications about backstory things, is the existence of what's called a hat stall. So a hat stall is when someone is sitting there waiting for the sorting hat to give its verdict. I think it is for 5 minutes or more. So you can imagine, I mean, 1 minute has got to feel like 10 minutes, let alone being there for 5 minutes where it's going, well, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, it's just going back and forth. And it actually says in there that Neville was a hat stall.
Yes, which is expected because pretty much anything bad that can go wrong happens to Neville.
Yeah, poor Neville. We'll talk about that more later, but he really just doesn't have much luck, does he?
Nope. He's kind of like that hopeless kid that you can't help but feel bad for, but he's just always hanging around.
Yeah, definitely. So you already kind of mentioned, I think that was actually before we were recording, but we had some conversation about right before the sorting, the hat actually sings a song.
Yeah, it sings a song kind of explaining the character traits of people in these specific houses, and it kind of, I guess, a little bit in the song explains sort of who this hat is, who it's personified to be. So, as if that wasn't weird enough that a talking hat decides your upcoming 7 years, it sings to you as well. And what I kind of thought, I guess, kind of made me laugh was on 118 right after the song. As soon as this hat finishes singing, it says the whole hall burst into applause as the hat finished its song. It bowed to each of the four tables and then became quite still again. So, like, this entire congregation or student body is cheering for a hat.
Yeah, I'm just picturing it. It doesn't have arms, but sort of like flapping little bits of itself into like a bow position.
Yeah, so that was trying to picture this in my head as I was reading it was a bit comical.
Good. That's the idea. So Ron, apparently, we see there on 118, just another little tidbit, was told that you had to wrestle a troll to get put into a house.
Yeah, so his brothers continue to mess with him, and that's another interesting storyline, I guess, is we don't get a full look or understanding of all the preconceived notions that Ron probably has from like lies that his brothers have told him. So that would be like an interesting side story, I guess, of if J.K. Rowling could, I guess, share what all Ron's brothers have told him about Hogwarts that aren't even true.
Yeah, I'm sure she could fill a book just with that, just from Fred and George.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got sorting, we've got some Hufflepuffs, we've got some Ravenclaws. The notable characters that it really focuses on that we know about getting sorted, I made a short list of them here. We have Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and Neville all being sorted to Gryffindor. And Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle are all sorted to Slytherin. Do you remember Crabbe and Goyle?
Yeah, those are kind of like Malfoy's goons.
Yeah, goons,
right?
is a good word for Crabbe and Goyle for sure. So,
Okay. But
Harry isn't just simply, and you said some people are immediately sorted and some people it kind of takes some time. Which camp does Harry fall into?
Harry's sort of in his own camp in that he has a mental conversation with this hat.
Yeah, did that strike you as out of the ordinary?
I don't really know what ordinary is at this point, so I can't say that. But do you think that every kid is able to have a mental conversation with this hat?
That's a really good question. It is touched on at some point, but we do not get a solid answer on that. So there doesn't seem to be anything particular where he says, "Ooh, I can talk to you. This is fun. Talk back to me." Like we're not told that it is irregular for Harry to be able to do it. So I guess that I assume that it somewhat takes their thoughts into account.
Okay, so I guess I'll read the conversation they have here. Harry's thinking, not Slytherin, not Slytherin. And the hat says, not Slytherin, eh? Said the small voice, are you sure? You could be great, you know, it's all here in your head. And Slytherin will help you on the way to greatness, no doubt about that, no? Well, if you're sure, better be Gryffindor. So it's weird that the hat kind of makes it seem like Slytherin would be a natural choice for Harry.
Why is that weird?
Because Voldemort comes from Slytherin. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but we find out that Snape is the head of Slytherin, and he does not like Harry. When he looks at Harry, Harry gets that like flashing green light headache back from the memory of losing his parents, which I have an interesting question about. I don't know if this is the right time or not.
There's no wrong time for you to ask me a question, Braden.
Okay, so one thing that, and I'm a guy who, I'm not like a weird conspiracy theory guy, but I do like to hear other people who are really into conspiracy theories explain stuff. I find it interesting, and so this is sort of a conspiracy thing. What do we know that Harry's parents were actually killed, or is that just a story told to make more sense of something else that might have happened? That's a confusing sentence, I guess.
No, I understand what you're saying. I am just wondering how to respond. I could tell you that they were killed, or would I be lying? I mean, if there is a bigger conspiracy, I'm not going to tell you now.
Sure. And I don't expect you to, but that kind of popped in my head is like, obviously, to me, the Snape guy has some sort of connection with Voldemort. So it was like, what's going on here? First of all, I asked, was Snape there at the time that Harry's parents were quote-unquote killed? And if he was, then I'm starting to think, if I'm going along the lines of my theory that Voldemort is somehow related to Harry, i.e. possibly Harry's dad. Is Snape like Uncle Snape? Or I don't know. So I started to question, like, all these stories that have been passed down to Harry about what happened to his parents. Is that like the easy way to explain away something that Harry wouldn't understand at his age? Not that being told your parents were killed is an easy thing, obviously. I mean, that's horrible, but I guess if someone were to tell him at a young age, like, well, your parents are actually wizards, and one has a weird looking nose, and he can do magic, and so yeah, a lot of questions started flying around my head, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit here to like the introduction of Snape, but all this sort of was coming together, starting with this hat, kind of insinuating that Slytherin would have been the natural choice for Harry.
So, yeah, what not going to answer any of that, obviously, but I am going to put down a prediction for you that Snape is somehow connected to the Potter, quote-unquote, murder, if we can even call it a murder. Let's not just be sheep and follow along with everyone telling us the Potters were murdered.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I feel like there's weird stuff going on here between Snape somehow being connected to Harry's flashes of green light and headaches, and then the hat just sort of assuming that Slytherin would have been a comfortable place for Harry to go, or a natural place for Harry to go.
Yeah, I had one more question about the hat, kind of. Now that you know a little bit about all four houses, do you have any thoughts on the differences between them? Do you have even a hierarchy, your favorite houses, anything like that?
So Gryffindor is obviously, kind of like I said earlier, like the home team. It's got all our favorite characters so far. Gryffindor is obviously the easiest to sort of align with. But when I was thinking about these, I was thinking about which of these would have the coolest jerseys and or like logos. And I feel like if we're going off that, I'm totally Ravenclaw. I feel like that would be cool.
Okay. Is this logo like a raven, or is it just like a talon?
I feel like it's a raven with like a green eye, and then its talon is like, it's like a smaller raven head, but then it's like flying towards you, so its talons are like all flexed out and coming for you. Yeah. So that's...
Oh, cool.
And that means absolutely nothing. That has nothing to do with the story or actually any actual traits or characteristics about these houses. But
yeah, so what do you know about each house? Does each house... It should have kind of a thing. Like, Gryffindor's thing is that they are...
Well, I'm just going off the song that the hat just sang on 118.
Yeah.
And it says, "You might belong in Gryffindor, where dwell the brave at heart. Their daring nerve and chivalry set Gryffindors apart." So, yeah, kind of the obvious, like, the heroes, the knights in shining armor, you know, that's what comes to mind with chivalry. And then it says, "You might belong in Hufflepuff, where they are just and loyal. Those patient Hufflepuffs are true and unafraid of toil." So
what's their thing?
They're loyal. They're patient. They're sort of, I don't know, reading that, it's like the Hufflepuffs are like the meek, like the I don't know, the not quite as aggressive house.
Sure.
And then it says, "Or yet in wise old Ravenclaw, if you've a ready mind, where those of wit and learning will always find their kind." So Ravenclaw is the smart house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Slytherin, obviously, coming into this, we had the background with them. So as the reader, I have the slight angle that Slytherin is the evil house, but it says, "You'll make your real friends. Those cunning folk use any means to achieve their ends." So that's kind of interesting too, because I feel like that could be a passive aggressive, like even cheating, even murder.
Yeah, any means, right?
Yeah.
Slytherins are often described as being ambitious.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of a Slytherin trait. Okay, so we are now at the feast itself. Did this live up to your expectations? Had you even thought, oh, maybe there'll be a bunch of food here?
That hadn't really crossed my mind when they were going to feed these guys, but if I remember right, is on 123, like most of the foods were pretty normal.
Yeah.
That was actually more surprising than anything, really, was I expected there to be all these, like, really crazy magical foods, kind of like the candies, like these weird names.
Right.
And it was just roast beef, chicken, pork chops, bacon, sausage, steak. The only thing weird at the end was peppermint humbugs, whatever those are.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you exactly what a peppermint humbug is.
Kind of an interesting note right after that so Harry has to be kind of excited that he actually gets to eat as much as he wants.
Yeah.
Because it says the Dursleys never exactly starved Harry, but he'd never been allowed to eat as much as he liked. Dudley had always taken anything that Harry really wanted, even if it made him sick. Harry piled his plate with a bit of everything except the peppermints and began to eat, and it was all delicious. So I'm sort of imagining Harry just like stuffing his face, like afraid that somewhere Dudley's watching and is about to come and take all his food.
Yeah, it's like one of those when you have multiple dogs and there's the one that always eats really fast, so that makes the other ones start to become more protective of their food.
Yeah, exactly. Or I think about like how growing up with my sisters, they would like shield their plates at dinner when I was there.
From you? You're admitting to just stealing food from your sisters?
Absolutely. Yeah, that happened. And I would be lying if I said it still doesn't happen a little bit when I go home, just more so now out of like fun, because it's something that used to happen. But
yeah.
So
we get introduced to Nearly Headless Nick now at this point, sort of transitioning right from food.
And this is a ghost, right?
This is a ghost.
So again, now we have a character that we're going to get to know by name that is associated with Gryffindor, so I would assume we will run into more often than not moving forward. And there's just like no explanation. Like, yeah, he's a ghost and they live here. And this particular one happened to was nearly decapitated. And now his head moves back and forth kind of on a hinge. And that's his thing. Nearly Headless Nick. So it's like, what do I do with that? I can't make a point about it. I can't ask you a question. It's just like, what? I don't know.
Yeah, I really like how you're presenting this, which is just, well, here's a ghost, and that's a thing I have to accept as normal because I'm not allowed to question it, and he's just going to talk about Gryffindor a little bit.
Yeah, so
He doesn't say like any ghost things. Okay, so let's win the house championship. Slytherin's been winning a lot. That's annoying. Am I right? Slytherins. Like he's just a normal guy.
No, yeah, there's nothing like ghostly or magical really about him. He's like the fraternity brother that can't seem to graduate. Like he's been there for 10 years and just can't get it figured out. And so he's there to offer advice immediately.
Yeah, what does it say? 400 years? I think on the end of page 123.
Oh, yeah.
It says, I haven't eaten for nearly 400 years.
Yeah. So he's obviously been there longer than 10. But yeah, so if you have any direction to guide me in regards to Nearly Headless Nick, that would be greatly appreciated because, as I'll say again, I have no idea what to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, he'll keep coming up like you said, and we'll get little drips of what is cool about him and how he's involved in the story. So just keep your head on a swivel for that one.
So I guess every house has a ghost. Is that a thing?
Yes, every house does have a ghost. Because
then it introduces us to the Bloody Baron, who is Slytherin's ghost, and he is described as terrifying, I guess. I'm trying to find the exact... Harry looked over at the Slytherin table and saw a horrible ghost sitting there with blank staring eyes, a gaunt face, and robes stained with silver blood. Who bleeds silver blood?
Well, he's a ghost. I'm sorry. He only exists in whites and silvers and pearls now. That's his life.
But how would you even be able to distinguish a liquid if he's a ghost?
That's not an unfair question. His name's the Bloody Baron.
Yeah.
I guess. He's not the Wet Baron.
That's got to be the Hufflepuff's ghost, right?
No, you met Hufflepuff's ghost already, remember?
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, no. What's his name?
On, where are we at? This is way back there. On 115
Oh, wow. Okay.
and 116. Yeah.
Is that the Fat Friar?
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense too. Arguments aside, we can agree that the Bloody Baron's terrifying.
Yeah. Not even Malfoy wants to sit next to him. You'd think it might be, oh, I get to sit next to the ghost. But no, Malfoy's just scared of him.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because Nick is offering like encouragement and advice and obviously engaging with the new first years. And it says on 124 that as Harry looked over and saw the ghost, he was just sitting there with blank staring eyes, a gaunt face, and robe stained with silver blood. So I'm just imagining he's just staring straight ahead as Malfoy's like sitting there like shaking.
Yeah. He deserves it. Punk.
Yeah. No, I did not feel bad for him. I want to make that clear.
So we don't get lots of angry listener mail with Malfoy sympathies.
Yes.
So now we sort of transition right into a wizarding heritage discussion, I guess. There's no transition. It's, I've never asked about the Bloody Baron, said near the headless Nick. And then when everyone had eaten as much as they could, we just kind of moved on.
Yeah. There's more mystery than being added to the Slytherin side of things where, you know, we don't know what Snape's deal is and we don't know much about their ghost. So I'm guessing that's going to be a common theme throughout really the whole series, is that you're just going to learn about Slytherin little bit by bit, and it'll all come full circle, and Voldemort will be Harry's dad.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So we meet Seamus. How did you pronounce, so this kid on 125, I'm half and half, said
Seamus, yeah.
Seamus? You knew it was Seamus the whole time?
Yeah, that's like an Irish name, isn't it?
Yeah, but man, you're pronouncing everything so well. I mean, like, I remember when I was in high school, I was telling people, you know, it's actually Seamus. No, what? There's not an H. I just thought that'd be fun.
There was a brief period in college where I was trying to get into like Premier League soccer.
Oh.
And I think there was a player named Seamus. And my friend who was like already really into it was like telling me all these players' names, and I learned then. So
okay, that's fair. So Seamus is half and half. Neville talks about his grandma bringing him up.
Yeah, let's not skip over Neville literally being dropped out of a window to see if he's a wizard or not.
Yeah, so his great uncle Algy was dangling him out after having previously pushed him off the end of a pier. And do you see why he lets go?
Says, when my great auntie Enid offered him a meringue and he accidentally let go. So food persuaded him to take his thoughts elsewhere from his dangling nephew.
And then he's so pleased that he bought Neville a toad.
There you go, buddy. We're real excited that you're a wizard, so here's a toad.
We get a little bit of Percy and Hermione. What is the next thing I wanted to talk about?
Hermione's supposed to be kind of annoying, right? That's like...
Are you annoyed by her?
I'm real annoyed by her, yeah.
What? Why?
I mean, she's that stereotypical kid in school that is just the overachiever and is trying way too hard, and like, she even annoys Snape. Which I guess he's already sort of not a fan of the Gryffindor house, maybe, but it's that whole scene where like Snape is questioning Harry and then she's freaking out trying to get Snape's attention. So
that's annoying.
Yeah, to me, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what kids these days call that? It's not being they say overachiever, but also someone like that is described as extra. Have you heard this?
So that's like an adjective that kids are using today?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Like, oh, you extra.
Yeah. Can confirm, can report from directly from public middle school is, oh, him? No, he's so extra. Like, he's always doing like more than he has to. He's like we used to say, try hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, now it's extra. Mm-hmm.
Extra. Okay, well, Hermione is super extra.
So Freeform is Codswallop and Hermione is extra.
Yep. You got it. You heard it here first, folks.
The next real thing. Oh, I wanted to mention on the top of page 126. I thought you'd like this. The second paragraph in, Hagrid was drinking deeply from his goblet.
Yes, I did not pass over this. I was going to put it in the notes, and I saw you already did it, which made me super happy. Further confirming that Hagrid might be a drunk.
I'm just imagining Hagrid has like just a giant goblet. Like when it says goblet, I'm thinking like
a bathtub. And he's just lifting it with both hands to his mouth, and it's just running down the sides of his face, and he cannot drink it fast enough.
I was going to say like a saucepan, like one of the tall like pans you make like spaghetti in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on how big we're trying to say that Hagrid is, I guess.
I mean, it says that his hands are the size of garbage can lids in the beginning of chapter like 1.
Okay, so yeah, I feel like a bathtub would be maybe a little on the big side, but
well, yeah, no, a bathtub. Good. He's drinking from a bathtub goblet. Is he at his own table then? I mean, to set that down.
Yeah, well, he lives in his own little house on the edge of the woods, so I imagine they have their own table that they set him at, and I don't know. I assume...
Is that like off to the side, out of the way?
I'm reading here. No, he's at the high table.
Yeah.
So, no, I apologize to Hagrid. I'm selling him short here. Alcoholism and all, he is right up there with the big dogs.
Yeah. So then we get something interesting happens there on page 126. Harry gets a little bit of that sweet, sweet scar pain.
That sweet, sweet scar pain. So he's kind of checking out Professor Quirrell, who's over there talking to Snape, who I guess Snape is trying to take his position. Yeah, so we don't even know Snape's name at first, I guess. He's just the hook-nosed teacher. And it says it happened very suddenly. The hook-nosed teacher looked past Quirrell's turban, which that's a thing too. Like, this old guy's wearing a purple turban. Looked straight into Harry's eyes, and a sharp, hot pain shot across the scar on Harry's forehead, and he lets out an audible ouch and, like, claps his hand to his head. So we kind of already, like I jumped the gun a little bit with the prediction tying into that, but there's a connection here. And I think Snape was there during the quote-unquote murder of Harry's parents.
Yeah, he definitely seems to be connected to that somehow. I mean, there's no mistaking eye contact equals pain.
Yeah, and it goes on later on in 126 to say that I don't know who's talking here. I don't know if it's Ron or...
It's Percy.
Percy, I'm sorry. Says he knows an awful lot about the dark arts, Snape, and that was kind of Voldemort's thing, right? He got into the dark arts.
Yes.
Yeah. So, connection. Boom.
Boom. So Dumbledore gives our start of term announcements. Any of those stick out to you?
I audibly chuckled a little bit reading his first statement when he says, "I'd like to say a few words." It says, "Welcome," he said. "Welcome to a new year at Hogwarts. Before we begin our banquet, I'd just like to say a few words." And here they are. Nitwit, Blubber, Oddment, and Tweak. Thank you. And he sat back down. That's like a dad joke for the ages. Like, I'd like to say a few words. Here are a few random words that mean nothing. Which maybe they mean something, but we don't know that. I don't know that. You know that.
So he gives his little announcements. No magic in the hallways, blah, blah, blah. The forest on the ground is forbidden to pupils. Anything stick out?
I'm going back to it now, but there's the one that's like, don't do this unless you want to die a horrible death. Finally, I must tell you that this year, the third floor corridor on the right-hand side is out of bounds to everyone who does not wish to die a very painful death. And this is... I really enjoyed the fact that Harry laughed. He kind of shares, like... He has the realistic, like, dark sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the out of bounds?
So out of bounds is at the top of the page 127. First, you should note that the forest on the grounds is forbidden. henceforth referred to as the Forbidden Forest.
Got it. And that's where Hagrid lives, right? Like right on the edge of it?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, don't go there or you'll die a very painful death, you 11-year-olds.
Yeah. He's not messing around.
Yeah, not messing around at all.
Then we get to the school song.
Yes, the school song, which I want to make it known. I suggested as a special podcast that Rogge sing this.
And then I suggested that Braden sing it in Hagrid voice.
To which I responded, I don't know if I can sustain Hagrid's voice that long without like passing out or something.
We could do one where we like all sing it separately or something.
Yeah, maybe figure out how to harmonize it, like me, you, Jeremy, Rachel, Hannah.
Hannah, yes.
Yeah. No, Hannah, we should just record. She's going to kill me. We should record a small episode where we just put this in front of her and make her sing it. Like with no context whatsoever. Just.
Can we record her like arguing about it too?
Yes.
Like we just hit record and she's like, Braden, Rogge. I'm not just gonna sing it.
I don't even know what this is. How am I supposed to sing it? I don't know what it is.
It does. You can remind her. Dumbledore specifically says, everyone pick their favorite tune.
Which I thought was funny too.
Yeah, that's always my favorite part.
Yeah. Just pick a song, fit the words in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Hogwarts, Hoggy-wordy Hogwarts. As if the word Hogwarts wasn't endearing enough to begin with. Teach us something, please, whether we be old and bald or young with scabby knees. Our heads could do with filling with some interesting stuff. For now, they're bare and full of air, dead flies and bits of fluff. So teach us things worth knowing. Bring back what we forgot. Just do your best, we'll do the rest, and learn until our brains all rot. There's your school song, folks.
Maybe we'll find out somewhere in book 4 about the 5 songs.
Okay, that sounds good.
So we get a little bit of them heading back up to the dormitory.
Yeah, and we have this run-in with Peeves, and that is another ghost, right?
Well, Peeves is a poltergeist.
Okay, what is that?
A poltergeist is like a ghost, but it's a little more physical. So you'll notice that...
Oh, like it has like silver blood? Would that be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. This is making sense.
That's what really clicks everything into place.
Yep.
No, you notice that when Harry first meets Nearly Headless Nick, let's see if I can get back to it properly. Harry is... Well, wait, is there an actual... Maybe not. Maybe this is later. But Harry's described as having this like terrible, cold, like wet, clammy feeling whenever Nick tries to shake his hand or touches him. Mm-hmm. But Peeves can pick things up and throw things and physically mess with stuff. So poltergeist is a German word, I'm going off the top of my head here, that carries this implication of being mischievous, basically. Poltergeists aren't just serenely float around and offer advice. Poltergeists are there to mess around with stuff.
Okay. Yeah, because I had seen that word. That's like a horror film, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So it's sometimes used in English just as sort of a synonym for ghost, but this is just a little bit of a nuanced use of it, I guess.
Okay. So he's somehow connected to the Bloody Baron, because I'm reading here on page 129. Mm-hmm. And Percy is sort of explaining to us who Peeves is. Because at first it says a bundle of walking sticks was floating in midair ahead of them, and as Percy took a step towards them, they started throwing themselves at him. Peeves, Percy whispered to the first years, a poltergeist. He raised his voice. Peeves, show yourself. Peeves answers, do you want me to go to the Bloody Baron?
No, Peeves answers with a...
Oh, that's what Percy said?
Yeah, so Peeves makes like a fart sound.
Yeah. Okay. So... why would Percy go to the Bloody Baron?
Well, then it says later on page 129, oh, you'll want to watch out for Peeves, said Percy. The Bloody Baron's the only one who can control him. He won't even listen to us prefects, marking like the 4th time he said us prefects.
Yeah, So he's stuck up and annoying. Is that what we're concluding about Percy?
Is that what we're concluding about Percy?
I think so, yeah. So my question still remains, why is the Bloody Baron the only one who can control Peeves?
It's an excellent question. Maybe Peeves is just scared of him.
Yeah, maybe Peeves is the only one that's scared of him, and that's why he can control him. No, I don't think that's the case. I feel like... because it singles Peeves out... like, does that imply that all the other ghosts are not controlled by the Bloody Baron?
Well, Peeves isn't a ghost, he's a poltergeist.
Oh,
so
right.
I don't know. Take from that what you will.
Okay, my fault.
No, it's okay. We've got one more thing. We need to go on to the next chapter, but we do get a little bit of dormitory life. And how do they get into the dorm?
They talk to a portrait of a fat woman in a pink dress.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, Caput Draconis.
Yeah. So that's the password.
How close was I to how that's actually pronounced?
No, that is, I mean, it's Latin, I guess. I don't know. Caput, like ended? I don't know.
Okay.
Draconis, like dragon? I think. I mean, I don't know Latin. So they get through with that password, which I always think is kind of interesting. Like, there's just keys, I guess, for us to get into our college dorms, but that's not enough in the Wizarding world.
That's just an interesting bit of dorm life, I guess. But the real kind of exclamation point on this chapter is the dream that Harry has.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm going to read it again here. So he was wearing Professor Quirrell's turban, which kept talking to him, telling him he must transfer to Slytherin at once because it was his destiny. Harry told the turban he didn't want to be in Slytherin. It got heavier and heavier. He tried to pull it off, but it tightened painfully, and there was Malfoy laughing at him as he struggled with it. Then Malfoy turned into the hook-nosed teacher, Snape, whose laugh became high and cold. There was a burst of green light, and Harry woke, sweating and shaking. So...
what does it mean?
For me, this was confirmation that somehow Snape was there. Whatever happened when Harry got this scar, whether his parents were murdered or not, Snape was there.
Yeah, it makes sense. Snape being further associated with green light, with the head. There's the whole sorting hat to turban to scar on the head sort of symbolism altogether there.
Yeah, and kind of going back to when the original Sorting Hat had kind of acted like Harry was naturally supposed to go to Slytherin. That's kind of the idea we're getting from this dream as well. Like, talking about trying to convince Harry that it's his destiny to transfer to Slytherin. So, destiny equals maybe fulfilling your father's footsteps.
Ooh.
I mean, come on. I feel like, as ridiculous as my prediction might end up being, I mean, you could see how I might get there.
Oh, it's looking good right now.
Yeah.
What I find interesting is that it makes specific mention that Harry did not remember the dream at all the next day.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know what to make of it, but there it is.
Yeah, I don't either, but it's an interesting dream nonetheless.
Yeah. So we're on to the potions master. So we start with some questions, right? There's people, what is the tall kid and glasses, Scar, right? Harry's got a lot of notoriety right now. What do we think about that? People pointing at staring. Do you think this is going to change Harry?
I feel like as an 11-year-old kid, you could only go so long with people acting like you're famous before it starts to go to your head. I don't know when that will be in the story, but I mean, I guess that directly comes against the idea of Harry being like a kid that struggles with confidence and sort of timid and hesitant.
Well, it could go the other way, and he's someone that struggles with his self-confidence, so he's particularly susceptible to this praise, this he could find his identity. He's struggling for an identity, and it could make it that much easier for him to accept this identity.
That's true. Yeah, I could see it going either way, I guess.
Yeah, so Harry is a little annoyed by this because he's just trying to get to class, man. There's 142 staircases. Did you anticipate this when we got to Hogwarts? Okay, it's a magic school where they learn magic, but like the building itself is just alive almost with magic.
Yeah, and like I guess maybe this could have been part of my beef, but why are they trying to make it even more confusing for these kids? Like they can't even get to class because some stairs move, some doors aren't even real doors. Like they're 11 years old. Come on.
Yeah, they seem to be kind of thrown out there. There's no mention of them getting a map.
No.
No one seems to be very sympathetic about their inability when they get to classes late.
Not at all. It's just like, hey, this is Hogwarts. This is how it is, and figure it out.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And you get a little bit more Peeves there. Peeves' classic line in the middle of page 152.
Got your conch, which is a nose. So he throws stuff at people. He would drop waste paper baskets on your head, pull rugs from under your feet, pelt you with bits of chalk. So he's super annoying.
Yep, true. And then you've also got Filch.
Yeah, so that's kind of because Hagrid is the facilities manager, right?
So Hagrid is the groundskeeper / gamekeeper, and Filch is the caretaker. He's like the custodian.
Okay. So he's that stereotypical, like, old, angry custodian?
Yeah, he really is, except, he's got his stereotypical cat. Is that a stereotype?
I don't think so. But initially when I read that, the only other cat I've met is also a woman. So, is the janitor's cat also a person?
Is the janitor's cat also a person?
I mean, it's called Mrs. Norris, so... And it said it had bulging lamp-like eyes, just like Filch's. Is it Filch's wife?
It's not Filch's wife.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you.
I feel like it can't just be a cat. There's no way.
All right. We've got some classes here. So this is kind of, you're getting a lot of information about Hogwarts and about Harry's time. We've got herbology. We've got, what else? History of magic. We've got astronomy. We've got charms. Any of these classes stick out to you too much?
I know that Hermione was super interested in transfiguration. And that's what McGonagall teaches, right?
Yes.
So, and it says on 134 that transfiguration is some of the most complex and dangerous magic you will learn at Hogwarts. That's the opinion of McGonagall. So
what I want to know is, what do you think of this breaking down of magic into discrete sort of skill sets? Were you anticipating when Harry goes to wizard school, what were you expecting? Like one classroom with a cat professor in it that shows you how to wave a wand?
Yeah, this is something that I hadn't really thought about. So is it kind of like you major in a certain type of magic? Like, or are some kids, if you're really poor in transfiguration, do you have to like take the 101 level with McGonagall, or how does that work?
Well, you'll see some of the coursework changing as we go on. Suffice it to say, there are electives as you get older, and you do eventually sort of choose certain paths to go down. You don't have to take the same core classes the entire year, but there are, I guess, 7 levels of every different type of class.
Okay.
Yeah, and there are a couple mentions of remedial classes, so you're kind of right.
Yeah. So the one that I think we're most interested in, though, is the potions class with Snape.
You think potions? Yeah. That's definitely the one that gets the gets the workup. I don't know, what am I trying to say? That's what we get all the details about here in this chapter.
It's kind of in the spotlight of this chapter, I guess.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I guess another quick question I had is, are kids assigned randomly to all these classes in terms of like what house they're from, or do you like, okay, all Gryffindors are going to take this class at the same time, and all Hufflepuffs are going to take this class over here? Because it says on 135 for the double potions that Ron says double potions with the Slytherins.
Yeah, so it is by house. This is kind of something that I've always wondered a little bit in terms of there being enough different kinds of classes for every different house with every different grade, but you, until later on when individual schedules can start differentiating, for the first 3 years, I guess, for the first 2 years, you do just strictly take the classes you're told to take, and you go with your house, and sometimes you're paired up with another house and sometimes you're not.
Okay.
So wouldn't you know it, Harry gets potions with the Slytherins.
I was going to say, isn't that convenient?
Well, we don't we want to touch on Hagrid's letter. What do you think about owl posts, right? There's hundreds of owls that come down every morning just casually into the breakfast hall.
Yeah, and Harry hasn't gotten a letter up until now. The rest of the time, the owl just comes down and like chews on Harry's ear or pokes him or something like that. His owl's name is Hedwig. Sorry, I should start referring to her as Hedwig.
Yeah.
Which I'm shocked, Rogge, that your dog isn't named Hedwig.
Okay, so I wanted to name him Harry.
Which makes sense.
Because he is hairy.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep.
Yeah. So, well, and plus, having seen the movie so many times, everyone says Harry's name at some point. So there's all these different little inflections and ways to say Harry in a British accent or, a different accent.
So that would be fun.
That's fun. Well, Rachel sees that as not so much fun as annoying.
Okay.
Apparently. But I got the compromise. We did still go Harry Potter related. So he's George Weasley Merriman.
Okay.
Because Rachel loves the twins, some of her favorite characters.
Okay.
Moving on. So we get to potions class, and what do you think about potions class? Just talk about Snape. Talk about potions.
Snape is talking about the mixing of potions and all these random weird things that, when you mix this with that, it does this. And he's taking some shots at Harry pretty early here. Asking him questions that, like, there's no way as an 11-year-old boy who just learned that he's a wizard would know.
Counterpoint, Hermione knows the answers, though.
Okay, but she's extra.
Yes.
So we can't count her, because clearly she has spent every waking moment of her life since she knew she was going to Hogwarts memorizing this stuff.
She really has.
Yeah. So he's kind of like putting Harry on display, making an example out of him, and every time Harry he keeps responding like, I don't know the answer to that. But clearly Hermione does, so why don't you give her a try? And Snape doesn't appreciate that, and we see the first mention of house points. So Harry has already lost house points for Gryffindor.
Yeah, he loses, 1 point for not knowing things?
I think by the end of the class he loses 2, right?
Yeah, for cheek.
Yeah, that was an interesting. Do you use that term with your students?
Points or cheek?
Cheek.
I say disrespectful a lot, I guess. For some reason, just the phrase like talking back just sounds childish when I say it out loud, and I have no idea why. So I for some reason find myself avoiding that, and I say talking back. Or I say disrespectful a lot, I guess.
Okay. Well, maybe you should start using cheek.
But then I have to explain it to them.
No, you don't. That would be more funny if you don't explain it at all.
Okay, I'll try.
Also, while I'm on the train of making suggestions to a teacher when I've never taught, maybe at the start of new school years, you should pull the Dumbledore and say like, "Hey guys, welcome. Glad you're here. I just wanted to start off by saying a few words." And then just say those random words.
So what you got to understand about me is that I teach Spanish, so I do that. It's just
with Spanish words. Okay, that's awesome.
So I mean, I don't do that, like I don't quote Dumbledore, but I start off every quarter when I have new kids or at the beginning of the year with just like a whole PowerPoint slide of explaining who I am in my life in Spanish. and so I like put it up on the board, and I'm flying, like I'm just jabbering away, and kids' eyes just start getting really big, and like you can tell they're looking down at their papers like, hey, did I sign up for advanced Spanish? And they're like, they start like trying to stop me at points. It's pretty funny. And then we just, talk through like, well, these are the different levels. You can kind of figure this out, and you've got context. And so it makes them feel smart, but at first it makes them feel dumb.
This is a revolutionary teaching method. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I'm writing a book, so.
Which, not the little shameless plug there. Be on the lookout for that, listeners.
Yeah, Snape has a pretty similar teaching style, is about making people feel dumb. He just doesn't get to the part where it makes them feel smart, I guess.
Yeah, he just doesn't do the back half of the Rogge Merriman method. Doesn't really finish anything off. So I'm trying to find that word that he uses, what he refers to, like, hopefully you won't be as dumb as... Oh, a dunderhead.
Dunderheads, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, he just sort of makes everyone... He's like... It's like he's above teaching potions. I mentioned earlier that he wants to be teaching the dark arts. This is like a waste of his time, is kind of the feeling we get.
Yeah, educating children doesn't really seem to be a passion of his, you might say.
No, not at all. He clearly has a beef with Harry. Makes that known from day one.
Yeah, I mean, we've already talked about this. Obviously, I was planning on asking you if you had any predictions about the Harry-Snape relationship, how that's going to go moving forward. Is this just going to stay at hate? Are we going to find out more about their past? But we've already touched on that.
Yeah, I am interested to see how, like, this is going to boil over eventually, because... one would think, kind of like you mentioned earlier, like maybe all this fame and notoriety is going to go to Harry's head, and he's going to feel confident enough to stand up to Snape. Which I assume Hogwarts will just collapse when that happens. And Harry's forehead will start flashing green light, and...
when he's running low on battery.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Snape has a couple other specific relationships. You've got the Snape-Harry thing where he hates Harry, the Snape-Hermione thing where he, like, ignores her.
Yeah, and then he's kind of buddy-buddy with Draco.
Yeah, you've got the Draco thing. What do you make of that?
I mean, that was sort of expected, I think, once we learned that Draco was going into the Slytherin house. So that just makes it easier. I already hated Draco, so... now that he's officially on the other team, we can move forward.
Who do you hate more, Draco or Snape?
So far, Draco, because of his stupid comments on the train.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they will battle for my hatred as the series goes on.
Yeah, we've also got a little bit of Snape Neville.
Yeah, so in typical Neville fashion, he knocks over a cauldron, is covered in boils because of what spills on him. I'm pretty sure Snape just calls him an idiot and tells him to get to the hospital.
Yeah.
So...
and then he manages to blame Harry. Oh, Potter, why didn't you tell him not to add the quills? Thought he'd make you look good if he got it wrong. Like, what? Yeah, so I hope that's a thing going forward, just as, like, comic relief, that, like, literally when anything goes wrong that's completely unrelated to Harry, Snape's just going to point at Harry. Yeah, I do that with my students sometimes, but in a very different way. Like if it's a kid that I have a good relationship with and like we can joke around together, then I'll pretend to blame things on that kid and everyone sort of laughs about it. Like it's an inside joke for the class.
I would love to sit in on your Spanish class. Yeah, or not. Yeah, that's
No, I mean, you are welcome to.
stupid
literally.
idea.
No. Please come to Warsaw and sit into my Spanish class. You'll be a celebrity. All of my students that listen to you, you'll be signing autographs.
I sort of want to show up in like a cloak and like glasses with like the tape around the middle and...
So Harry leaves potions and heads down to see Hagrid. We'll sort of finish up with this.
Yeah.
A few things about Hagrid. He has a dog.
Named Fang. So that was sort of fitting. If, Hagrid was going to have a dog, you knew it would have some ridiculous name. So he takes Ron with him to meet Hagrid. And Hagrid immediately recognizes Ron from the freckles. That must be a defining Weasley trait.
Yeah, the freckles and the red hair.
Yep. So we kind of get to learn a little bit about Hagrid's opinion on Filch and Mrs. Norris, the cat.
His wife.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot that there's clearly a marriage there.
There's clearly a marriage there.
So what I was looking forward to is Harry getting to fill Hagrid in on the class with Snape and kind of see how Hagrid would react to it.
How did he react?
Really weird. It kind of annoyed me. Like, why is this... Like, clearly Hagrid knew that was going to happen, and he's trying to play it off like, oh, that's not a big deal, don't worry about it. It says, Harry tells him, but referring to Snape, he really seemed to hate me. And Hagrid's just like, rubbish, why should he? And Harry says that he couldn't help but thinking that Hagrid didn't quite meet his eyes when he said that. So there's obviously like some awkward tension in the room. And he quickly changes the subject to asking about Ron's brother, Charlie. Which is kind of a funny little like side comment. How's your brother Charlie? I liked him a lot. He was good with animals. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's Hagrid's thing.
Yeah.
So then we find out that Gringotts had a break-in. So we had seen this before.
Yeah. And it's a big deal because the whole way down to Gringotts, Hagrid mentions a couple different times that, like, if anybody ever tried to break in there, they'd be mad. Like, the goblins would get them. And then, not too long after, we find out that it's broken into. But it says in the newspaper clipping, the vault that was searched had, in fact, been emptied earlier that day.
So why is this breaking news to Harry?
Well, he's kind of... We're watching him tie it together that they were in the mine... Am I reading this right? That, like, that's this... Because that was Harry's birthday, right? And so that's the same day when they went to that certain room that had the grubby little package that Hagrid had to get.
Yeah, so what's Harry's assumption?
It says that, and we're kind of reading Harry's stream of consciousness here, that Hagrid had emptied Vault 713, if you could call it emptying, taking out that grubby little package. Had that been what the thieves were looking for? As Harry and Ron walked back to the castle for dinner, their pockets weighed down with rock cakes that they'd been too polite to refuse, Harry thought that none of the lessons he'd had so far had given him as much to think about as the tea with Hagrid. Had Hagrid collected that package just in time? Where was it now? And did Hagrid know something about Snape that he didn't want to tell Harry? So, let me make sure I'm understanding this. The idea is that Gringotts was broken into and they went... Correct me here if I'm wrong. Did the thieves go to 713 looking for this package and it wasn't there?
Well, all it says in the article is that nothing had been taken and that vault had been emptied that day. So it's Harry that is deciding that that goes together with his own experience of emptying a vault on that day.
So then it leaves you to wonder, like, was Hagrid actually told to get that package?
Ooh. Was he told to?
Was he sober?
I mean, like, no. When is he ever, right?
Was this just a drunken mistake? I need to stop that. I'm really throwing Hagrid under the bus here.
Well, hey, tell us how you really feel, Braden.
Well, so this is a confusing mystery to leave Chapter 8 on, I guess.
Yeah, welcome to reading Harry Potter books.
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm gathering so far.
Yeah, I'm holding the book open right now. It looks like about halfway through.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It feels like we just started.
It does.
So I think we have hit on a lot of the predictions I was going to ask from you to this point. We've talked about the Harry-Snape relationship. We have talked about the houses. So I think that pretty much leads us into the end of the episode. Do you want to take us out, Braden? Oh, before you do that, hopefully the listeners have already heard episode 3.5. Episode 3.5. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Introducing Patreon. So please do consider that. Think about that. If you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it. We would love to get your input on that, at least. If you have thoughts, if you have suggestions, ideas, please let us know via any of our social media platforms.
Yeah, so before I get into our little exit here, I do want to thank our producer, Jeremy. I have forgotten to do that, I think, every episode we've recorded so far, so I am a jerk. Jeremy, basically, as Rogge describes it, is the straw that stirs this drink.
No, the stir that drinks the straw, I think.
Yeah, that's what you said. That's why I got it wrong. So, Jeremy, thank you for being the stir for this straw. Yeah, no, in all seriousness, Jeremy does a lot of work to make us not sound as to cutting out all the ums and everything else, and he puts a lot of time into it, and we appreciate his efforts, and we appreciate you guys listening to another episode of A Muggle's Perspective. So, as Rogge mentioned, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review the show, as well as like us on Facebook. We have an Instagram at Muggle's Perspective. So,
yeah, I actually have made an effort this week. I've posted on Facebook every day so far this week, Monday through Thursday. We've had Meme Monday, some Harry Potter memes, which is kind of fun.
Awesome.
And Trivia Tuesday, I asked a trivia question, got a couple responses there. Congratulations. Oh, I'll read the trivia question, actually. The question was, what was the vault number that Harry and Hagrid visited at Gringotts that contained the grubby little package? Could you have gotten that one off the top of your head, Braden?
I knew it was in the 700s, but I don't think I would have gotten it without reading it right there at the end of Chapter 8.
I did say not to look, not to cheat. We had 2 correct answers, and narrowly the first correct answer was Mrs. Sells, Stephen's mom. Congratulations, Tammy.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah, so that was really good. Also, Katie Kelly. No, Roche. She got married. Sorry, Katie. Got the answer right as well. And then we had Witch Wizard Wednesday. So that was a Neville or Hermione, getting people to maybe say which one was their favorite and why. And then Thursday we had Trendy Thursday, which was some cool Harry Potter merchandise. And what do you think about that? And maybe finding some of your own or some of your favorite merchandise you have. So we're just trying to continue to keep the interaction going and give people a chance to experience a little bit of Muggle's perspective throughout even the off weeks.
Yeah, so be sure to check those out. And as Rogge mentioned, make sure to download episode 3.5 to get information on our Patreon page. And next time we will be covering chapters 9 and 10 of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.